Hi everybody, my name's Dakota McClendon. The kids typically call me Mr. M because McClendon's too hard. Today what we're going to be talking about is Exit Ticket and Kahoots. So let's go ahead and take a look. I actually tried to find Exit Ticket and succeeded, but it's an app that's only downloadable on Android devices, and I have an iPhone. So with a little bit more research, I learned that they use a program called Guru. And so we're going to take a look at that instead. So Guru is this really cool site where you can create your own classroom online and then create questions or assessments or resources that you can give to your students so that they can use them. Basically anything that you would want your students to have access to. So I logged in, created an account, and created my own classroom, Mr. M's classroom. And there's a lot of cool stuff in here, but as far as time goes, we don't really have a whole lot of time to hit every one of them, so we're just going to look at the collection. The rest of them are pretty similar, but collection is basically a collection of questions. So if we create one, we'll call it collection test and create it. So the cool thing about Guru is it actually lets you choose a subject. So I'm going into math education. So we'll highlight math, and then it actually lets you pick out the standards. So we can select standards here, and we'll say that these are going to be an algebra standard. Following creating equations, and then I can actually pick the standards that go along with whatever unit that I'm creating, which is really, really cool. And then if my face wasn't in the way, we'd be able to hit add. So go ahead and put that back. And then you can add resources or add questions that you would want your students to have access to. So let's go ahead and add a question. You have a lot of different options for questions. You've got multiple choice, highlighting important text, true or false, multiple select, free response, a bunch of really cool options for your students to, or different options for your assessments. So typically we would use this in a kind of formative assessment type to work with our students. So this part was actually a little confusing. This isn't the question area. This is actually the name of the question. I used air quotations, but you guys didn't see that, which is cool. The actual question goes here. So we'll name the question here in a minute. But as for what the question is, let's do something really simple but content heavy. What does the fox say? And so now what I can do is come down here and add my answer choices. This is really similar to a lot of other formative assessment tools that you'll find online. So the first one, let's say chicken noise. And you can add up to 10 answers with this specific question. Nay. We'll do pow, wow, 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 and cat noise. So obviously pow, wow, 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 wow is the correct answer. And so we put a little check mark by it, and so that's going to help grade it whenever the students submit the assessment. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then what we can do is click right up here, and it'll give us a hyperlink that we can share with our students. So if we copy that and then paste it or send it to our students however we want, email, writing it on the board, however, what will happen is they will be brought to a screen that kind of looks like this, only it'll have all of the questions that you've added. So you can add more than one question and more than one type of question. So we'll go ahead and just answer our question that we made and then finish the quiz out. And it'll actually tell us which ones we got right and what our percentage was as a grade, which is really, really cool. You can also preview your quiz, and that'll show you what it'll look like from the student's perspective, which is really cool. The other thing we're going to take a look at is Kahoot. So this is what Kahoot will look like when you first log in. And so you can make a new Kahoot. You can look at Kahoots that you've already made, and you can find Kahoots that other people have made. So let's just make a new Kahoot. And you have a bunch of different options. You can make a quiz, which is basically a question and 4 multiple choice answers. You can make a jumble, which is a new feature that's really cool. I highly recommend checking that out. Discussions or surveys. So let's take a look at the quiz, since that's going to be the most common. So let's go ahead and title our quiz. Basically, you need a title, a description, and who it's going to go to. So it's a school, and we'll call this Mr. M has Kahooties. I think that's fun. And then as a description, we'll just put #gross. You can upload an image. That's not necessarily required to create one. You can add credit resources if you pull questions from somewhere else, and you can also add an intro video if you would like. But we won't do any of that just for time's sake. Once we've got that set up, we can add a question. It's a little confused. Oh, there it is. So we can type in the question, and that can be whatever you want it to be. Give it a time limit. Answers, we'll say water, fire, earth, and silly string. So obviously water is the right answer, but silly string is a very close second. So once we have that made, again, we can add an image if we want, but we hit next, and that lets us make another question if we want to. So that's basically how to make one. I'll kind of show you what it looks like to from the student's perspective here in just a second. So another cool thing that Kahoots can do is basically it'll show you Kahoots from other teachers, and so you can incorporate those into your lesson. So let's take a look at something that would be super common in school systems, something really simple, fire breathing. That seems pretty cool. And so the first one that pops up is Brayman's Not So Fluffy Fire Breathing Unicorns. Interesting name. I actually looked at this earlier, and it's a really cool idea for teachers. Basically, this teacher has taken a survey from their students and found out interests or cool things about their student, and now they're using this in the form of a Kahoot to help the students get to know each other. So we're actually going to look at what this looks like. So I'm going to drag this to the side. The right side is going to be what it will look like to the teacher, and typically it would be what you would project onto the board. And then the left side is going to be what it looks like from the student. So give it just a second to load. Students can do this on their phone, their tablet, their laptop, pretty much anything. They just have to go to kahoot.it, and that will show them and enter this game pin, and then that will log them into the game. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, paste it here, and I'll come up with a nickname. We'll just do Frog, and hit OK, go. So now you can see that I am in this Kahoot. It's got a little naughty nickname, Beware, and you can actually cut people out of the Kahoot if they're being rude. So since I'm the only player, I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Basically what will happen is a question is going to show up here, and I'll actually give you a few seconds to see what the question is, so you can kind of start thinking of answers, and then the answers will pop up. Each answer has a shape that corresponds with it, and the students are just shown the shape. So they look up at the board and see what shape goes with the answer, and then they pick it on the board. So the question is, which student likes cheese? And I'm pretty sure Justin's the one that likes cheese. Yeah, so you get points associated based on if you get the question right or wrong. And it will actually rank the students depending on how many there are in total of highest points, which is really cool. So you can turn it into a competition, but you can also disable that feature, which is awesome as well. So that's Kahoot and Exit Ticket, well, by extension, guru. That's all I've got. Hope everybody has a great day.